Carson Wentz received high expectations out of the gate, going second overall to the Philadelphia Eagles. And rightfully so. He possessed a huge arm, supreme athletic traits, and the ideal frame for a franchise quarterback. We saw Wentz experience great success early on in Philly, but unfortunately his plans did get derailed. Here is the rise and fall of Carson Wentz. For a guy that went number 2 overall, you would be shocked at how scouts viewed Carson Wentz in high school. Born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, with 2 other brothers that participated in sports growing up, Carson played quarterback and DB for Century High School while also playing basketball and baseball. Although Wentz put up good numbers playing high school football, he was rated as a 0-star recruit and only received interest from Missouri Valley and FCS teams. After not receiving one D1 offer, Wentz decided to enroll to play football for North Dakota State. He was the backup quarterback his first 2 seasons with the Bison, but made his debut as a starter in 2014. In his first start against Iowa State, he completed 18 out of 28 passes for 204 yards in a 34-14 victory. He went on to lead the Bison to a 15-1 record and won the NCAA Division I FCS championship. In his final year playing for the Bison, he started off great, with one of his highlights coming against Northern Iowa after throwing for 335 yards. After suffering a wrist injury, Wentz missed 8 weeks, but returned for the national championship and once again delivered and brought home the Bison their 5th straight FCS title. After these standout performances, Wentz decided to declare for the NFL draft. The decision proved to be good. Even though Wentz played at a small college, most analysts projected him to be a lock for the first round. Scouts ignored his competition in college and fell in love with his upside and physical attributes. After the NFL Combine, Wentz had solidified himself as a top 10 pick by finishing top 3 for quarterbacks in the 40-yard dash, broad jump, 3-cone drill, and scoring a 40 out of 50 on his Wonderlic test. Coming into draft day, most analysts had Cal's Jared Goff as the number 1 player. After Goff went number 1 overall to the Rams, the Philadelphia Eagles were on the clock after trading the Browns a haul of picks to move up 6 spots. Philly selected Wentz, making him the highest FCS quarterback taken in draft history. The initial idea was to have Wentz learn while Sam Bradford started off the year. Those plans changed rather quickly once Philly traded Bradford out of town to Minnesota. Wentz's career started off great. He threw for 278 passing yards and 2 touchdowns in a 29-10 victory, while also being named the Pepsi NFL Rookie of the Week for Week 1. His hot start continued as he won Week 2 against the Bears and became the first rookie quarterback since 1970 to win his first 2 games of the season and not throw an interception. In Week 3, he once again outdid himself after beating the Steelers 34-3 and was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. All in all, his rookie year went to plan, as he started all 16 games and led the Eagles to a 7-9 record. Coming into year 2, expectations were set high, and it's safe to say that Carson Wentz delivered. In his first 5 games of the 2017 season, he passed for 1,362 yards and 10 TDs to go along with 3 interceptions. After this great start, NFL insiders ranked Wentz as a possible MVP candidate. And they were not wrong. Wentz was playing like an MVP and was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week for Week 7 after passing for 268 yards and a career-tying high 4 touchdowns. During Week 14 of the 2017 season against the LA Rams, Wentz left the game due to an apparent knee injury. The next day, an MRI revealed that he had suffered a torn ACL, forcing him to miss the remainder of the season. Fortunately for Philadelphia, they took care of business with their star quarterback sidelined. Against all odds, backup quarterback Nick Foles led the Eagles to a Super Bowl crown after beating Tom Brady and the Patriots. Wentz was named to his first Pro Bowl in 2017 and was ranked 3rd by his fellow players on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2018, making him the highest debut ranking in the history of the league. Wentz missed the first 2 games of the 2018 season after recovering from his ACL injury. Week 3 against the Colts, he made his comeback start, but finished with mixed results as he threw for 255 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Overall, the whole 2018 season was a mixed bag for Wentz. Near the end of the season, he suffered a back injury and Philly shut him down for the year. He finished the 2018 season with a 5-6 record, passed for 3,074 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 7 picks. A big downgrade from the MVP play prior to the knee injury. Coming into 2019, Philly believed in their guy and awarded Wentz with a 4-year, $128 million contract extension. The deal looked good at first, as Wentz threw for 313 yards with 3 touchdown passes in the season opener against the Redskins. Wentz played well in 2019, as he led the Eagles to another division title, became the first QB in franchise history to pass for at least 4,000 yards, and the first in the NFL to do so without any wide receiver catching at least 500 yards. In the NFC wildcard game against the Seahawks, Wentz left the game in the first quarter after a head-to-head collision with Jadeveon Clowney. The Eagles ended up losing this game 17-9. Coming into 2020, hopes were high for Wentz, and all the pieces were in place for him to succeed. Fortunately for Wentz, things got bad rather quickly. He started 12 games in 2020, sporting a 3-8-1 record to go along with 15 interceptions, 19 total turnovers, and 50 sacks taken. He ended up leading the league in all of those categories at the end of the year, despite only playing in 12 games. His play led the Eagles to starting second-round rookie Jalen Hurts. After decent play from Hurts, Philly had seen enough of Wentz and felt good about their future with Hurts, so they decided to cut ties with him and ship him off to the QB-hungry Indianapolis Colts in exchange for a 2021 third-round pick and a 2022 first-round pick. This move reunited Wentz with former Eagles coordinator Frank Reich, who had since become the head coach of the Colts. Wentz saw success with his former offensive coordinator, and with help from a top-ranked O-line and electric running back Jonathan Taylor, the Colts were primed to make a playoff run after sitting at 9-6 through 15 games. Coming into Week 17, according to 538, the Colts had a 97% chance to make the playoffs. All they needed was one win, either one win over the 8-7 Raiders or the abysmal Jags. After losing by a field goal to the Raiders, the Colts now would take on the Jags, who were playing for absolutely nothing. Nobody picked the Colts to lose this game. But what can go wrong for Carson Wentz did, as he finished the game with 17 completions on 29 attempts, 185 yards, and 1 touchdown to go along with 1 pick. After this catastrophic collapse, Indianapolis shipped off Wentz, a second-round pick, and a 7th-round pick to the Commanders in exchange for multiple draft picks. This stint with the Commanders was Wentz's last chance to prove he could be a true starting quarterback in this league. His debut in Washington started off pretty good, as he threw for 313 yards with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in a 28-22 victory over the Jags. Unfortunately for Wentz, his next few performances produced mixed results, and he suffered a fractured finger on his throwing hand. He was placed on IR on October 22nd and reactivated on December 12th. Although he did not regain his starting duties due to the team's chemistry and emergence of quarterback Taylor Heinicke. Heinicke's magic eventually ran out, and in Week 16, Wentz was thrown back into the fire for the 4th quarter against the 49ers, throwing for 123 yards and a touchdown. At this point, it was simple for Washington. Win the next 2 and you're in the dance. Head coach Ron Rivera named Wentz the starter once again, and this was his true last chance. With everything on the line, Wentz was terrible against the Cleveland Browns, completing 16 out of 28 passes for 1 rushing touchdown and 3 interceptions in the 24-10 loss. This loss and a win by the Packers and Lions in the same day resulted in the Commanders being eliminated from playoff contention and most likely the end of Carson Wentz being a starter in this league. Carson Wentz has had a roller coaster of a career. His peak was phenomenal and MVP worthy, but his bad has been really bad. Wentz has had more than enough chances at this point to prove he is worthy of being a starting quarterback in the NFL. The physical tangibles are there, but he just lacks quarterback IQ and also can't seem to find any chemistry with any team he lands on. The future for Wentz looks bleak, and we will most likely see him settling for a backup QB role in the near future.